Hey, welcome in, folks. This is Babbaginator. We are in the Long Dark, currently hanging out in Zone of Contamination, trying to decide what we're doing for the next little while. We've got more days ahead of us. It's foggy and cold. I think we were planning to do some more mapping. Hey, Roller! Thanks for the hydrate. I guess I'll get to do this. Starting about half an hour later than usual because I had a meeting that ran long with my composer. I got a late start on dinner. Now finally all caught up. Yeah, trying to figure out what we're going to do here. How was your weekend so far, Roller? What have you been up to? Six-hour pager. Was that you on call, or did you actually have to go in? I don't know which is worse. Waiting around on call is a pain because it feels like you can't actually do anything. Oh, so you had to go in.
Did I say I hate being cold? Because I really do.
Okay, we've looped around here. If the fog were gone, we'd be out mapping, but this is not really mapping weather.
I'm not going to be able to carry this load for much
Well, this is
longer.
probably boil some more water weather at this point. Hey, Rena, how's it going? Make some more torches weather too, I think. 11. Yeah, sorry to hear about that injury. Hopefully you're on the mend quickly. Ooh. Perforated eardrum and a toe injury. Separate incidents or related? I'm trying to imagine how you injure your eardrum and your toe at the same time. But, that's not foot and mouth, that's foot and ear? Ah, from dizziness. Okay. Yeah, that does not sound like fun. So far, 2024 is starting off injury-free for me. But it doesn't take much. Pieces of cloth. I mean, it's chilly for the West Coast. I mean, it was, what did we get to? The other day we were minus 12 Celsius, feels like minus 20. But by Tuesday we'll be back into above freezing, so yeah, right now, kind of cold. Yeah, kind of cold, still kind of dark, and perfect weather for staying in bed, honestly. You don't have a reason to be out. Like yesterday on Friday, I only went out in the evening because I was running a D&D game. And today, I went out to check we have a little store, like, that's part of our apartment complex that sells, mostly, like, so it's one of the university convenience stores. Mostly it sells, like, overpriced, snack food and hot foods, but they also sell a few vegetables as staples. And I was hoping, because I was just about out of garlic, I was hoping that they also sold like garlic cloves. But they don't. So it was kind of the only reason I stepped outside was to go and check and see if they had garlic cloves, and they don't. So. Yeah.
I can barely walk with this much gear.
Well, I survived. I scraped around in my pantry until I found enough loose cloves that I could do what I wanted to do. I made, for dinner tonight, I made this a couple nights ago and it worked out pretty well, so I decided to do it again, is I made kind of a Singaporean style curry. The other day I found like basmati rice at the local grocery store, like the non-expensive grocery store, the cheap grocery store, was on sale. And I usually don't buy a lot of basmati rice, but I bought some, and I decided I'd make some Singaporean curry out of some chicken and some shrimp I had bought on sale as well. And yeah, so coconut milk. Yeah. So it wasn't really according to a recipe, it's mainly from memory. Like what I would remember having in it. And so, yeah, it was tasty enough and spicy enough for me.
I'm not going to be able to carry this load for much longer.
Oops, don't want to throw that. Okay, let's see where we're at right now. So we know the way out now. So the way out's going to be over here. So we know how to get there now. Once we're almost out of meat, we'll move to the cave. For now, we're just going to go back over the waterfall and do a little bit more mapping up here. Filipino garlic rice with fried egg on top. Sounds good. Yeah, I found only a few small cloves, but then I also had a jar of Chinese chili garlic sauce, and so I added some of that in there to kind of bump the garlic flavor and add a little bit more spice to it. So it's got a little bit more garlic out of it. But yeah, if I felt like I would have added more garlic if I had it. So we can map over here. Didn't really add much. Okay, take care. We will have a great stream. Mainly because we killed all the wolves in the area, so I feel pretty confident that might be a boring stream, but it will be a safe stream. We'll try to get a little bit more mapping in, but I wonder what's up the rope. Oh! More food. There's a deer up here. What's over here? Oh, is this a pass? Does this take us to the other side? Well, let's backtrack a little bit and map. Yeah, I don't know if there's a cave over here. We'll find out. Craggy Passage. Yep. Uh-oh. Discolored snow. That's a bad sign. I'm not going in there. I haven't verified it yet, but there's no need to find out this way on this run. Oh, that's what we should do though. We should go all the way to the end and map it. Then we'll have some sense of what we're looking at. Okay.
Come on, little fire.
Sneak, 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 sneak. There we go. Yeah, I don't suppose there's any convenient shelter around here other than where we were at.
Come on, little fire. This pack is getting too heavy to carry.
Okay, 4 minutes left. The 8. Okay, let's get the hide off of this guy. Yeah, we have enough time to cure this hide.
dusk, so I can't be far behind.
Yeah, messed up. Oh.
I can barely walk with this much gear.
Yeah, tonight's weather's pretty light. Pretty mild. Oh. Poor Astrid. Long walk back to the cave. Okay, time to march. It looks like wind is picking up. Okay, we're almost back to our base. Add more food to our stock. And we'll definitely be able to make it through to the end now. But there's Bunny out now. I swear I only see him at night. Okay.
I'm not going to be able to carry this load for much longer. My fingers feel numb.
Oh. Okay. Let's see. Only one bandage, so I guess we do need to make a bandage. Okay, currently on 179. 7 days left. Hey Nifo, good to see you. Hey Cold Corn, good to see you as well. Let's do a short shout out here. Hey Seraphim, thanks for the hydrate. Cheers. Let's see, Nifo.
Wherever he was. Oh, Jesus. You scared the ever-loving hell out of me there. You even got some mouse shake on that.
Okay, cold corn. What? That's weird. The spray paint disappears sometimes? Huh. To shout out roller. Oh, I don't think it has any clips right now. Okay. So yeah, we've been and Slid Holmes with the raid. Hey, welcome in raiders. Welcome in Slid. Good to see you. How was your stream tonight? What were you up to? We're just, we're spending 20 days here in Zone of Contamination. And we are making progress. Although we want to avoid the hypothermia here. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Oh no! Just die? Trying to do 100 wolves, 50 days, no torch on Nagoa. Well, that's a challenge, indeed. "23 days, 41 wolves." Really not bad. That's about on pace, right? You're kind of on pace to get your mark. I don't know if we need any more water. How are we doing for teas? We could make some more tea. So yeah, for those of you who are new coming in on the raid, we're doing a challenge called Roll With It. A little bit different than Slid Home's challenge. We're doing an interloper run, but our stay in each region is randomly determined when we arrive. So as soon as we arrive at a new region, we roll a die and it tells us how many days. For the first 50 days, it's not too bad. It's 1 to 10 days in each major region and 1 to 4 days in each transition zone. But after 50 days, major regions jump to 1 to 20 days and transition zones go to 1 to 6. At 100 days, transition zones, that's like Crumbling Highway, Winding River. I count Milton Basin as its own little micro region. They all go to 1 to 8 days, and then at 150 days, transition zones go to 1 to 10 days. So, and you have to visit every single region in the entire Great Bear, system. So that's what we're doing, and we are on day 179 at this point. Let's see. And then if you're curious about who I am, I'm a Canadian streamer. I'm a writer. I'm the author of 2 books of poetry. I'm also a translator, a former computer games programmer, and a creative writing coach and manuscript editor. And I play a lot of D&D, so you sometimes hear me talking about role-playing games and Dungeons and Dragons, and sometimes you hear me talking about contemporary American poetry or talking about artificial intelligence. I wrote a PhD in literature and creative writing on 19th century artificial intelligence. And I'm currently doing a master's in library and information science. So yeah, and then a lot of my t-shirts are all like cat related or RPG related, usually both. So. Do I have a cat? Well, let's see. If you look closely in the background, you can see I have, right behind my head, I have a watercolor of a cat, which is the closest thing I've got to the ability to keep a cat in residence right now. I don't personally have a cat. I've sadly, throughout my life, usually lived with people who are allergic to cats in a more severe way than me. And so I have not been able to have a cat. I have, let's see, my sister has multiple cats, and usually I am a cat uncle and take care of their cats when they're unable to, when they're traveling or things like that. So, yeah. Whoa, Kanawi! Okay, welcome in. And, I'll give you another shout out. Look, everyone's hanging out tonight.
Wow.
Ooh. Is that Skyrim? No, that's whatchamacallit. Elden Ring. Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, so how's it going? How are you doing, Raiders? How's the run going? We are doing, I was just about to get the recap on the run. We are currently sitting on day 179, which means we're doing this visit every region, stay a randomly determined amount of time each time. So we roll dice in between, and we are currently in Zone of Contamination for 20 days, and we've survived 13. We only have 7 days left, and we killed a bear, and we just killed... So a few streams ago, we killed a bear, harvested it, and hauled all the meat back here. And this stream we found and killed the deer, so we have some more meat. So we got more meat than we actually have time, which is great. And we're slowly mapping parts of the region that we can reach, but we're avoiding anything that might look too dangerous for us to cross at this point in time. I see places with like discolored snow or cast off like containers that look poisonous or radioactive, and I'm not approaching them. Why? Because our goal is not to map the region. Our goal is to get our 20 days done and get out. So yeah, so at this point, where are we at? We have to leave this region at day 186. We're on 179. This is an interloper run. We started in HRV. We spawned there. We spent 9 days in HRV. We barely managed to... We managed to make it out into Milton for 4 days. And then we spent 3 days in the climb down between Milton and Mystery Lake. 1 day in Mystery Lake, which was... 1 day in Mystery Lake is nothing, right? There's no time to do anything. So we ran through Mystery Lake for 24 hours. We went to the ravine for 1 day. And we did Coastal Highway in 5, Crumbling Highway 4, Desolation Point where we forged. So we got in, grabbed our coal, and we forged and got out in 3 days. Crumbling Highway for another 4. Coastal Highway for 9, PV for 9. Timberwolf Mountain 3, so we pretty much got there, rested a couple days, grabbed some cattails, and shot some wolves, I think. And then we went to Ash Canyon. Then we got back to Timberwolf and spent 20 days in Deer Clearing and the Summit before coming back to Mountaineers. Then we did PV for 12, Winding River for 1, Mystery Lake for another 3, so we still really haven't looted Mystery Lake very much. For Forsaken, or what is it, Forlorn Muskeg for 13, Basin for 8. That was, thankfully we were all geared up to do that, so we could hunt. Imagine doing Basin for 8 with no bow. That would have sucked. FM for 10, Broken Railroad for 18. That was a long stay. Transfer Pass for 3. Then we started critting every roll. Forsaken Airfield for 20, followed by another 20 in Zone of Contamination. And then our goal is to go back to Transfer Pass, Broken Railroad, and the ones we haven't visited yet are Bleak Inlet, Keeper's Pass, and Black Rock. So it's quite the challenge right now. Yeah. So it's a whirlwind tour. We really only have 2 regions left. It's just that we have to visit a bunch of regions to get there. Or 3 regions, which really feels like 1 region, 2 regions, right? Because Keeper's Pass is on the way to Black Rock. All we need is 1 day in Black Rock. If we could just roll a 1 on Black Rock, that would be awesome. I could survive 24 hours in Black Rock. But I can't survive 19 days or 17 days in Black Rock. I do not have a good track record for Black Rock. I've lost every single run that has visited Black Rock has ended up in disaster. It's the only region that consistently kills me. Okay. Is it better? Still bad. We gotta spend some time outside. We can't really... Can't really just sit around inside the cave and do nothing. So one thing I'm wondering about, I don't think it's underground enough. But what would happen if we went over to that rocky passage? Yep. I got the... Let's see. You're gonna lurk. Get something to eat. You want a tip about the gas pools? Can you light them on fire? Is that a thing? That'd be cool if you could light them on fire. Or is this going to be one where you say take off your boots and your socks and just walk across them and then won't do any damage to your clothing? Yeah, this is the thing I don't know if it counts or not counts. Yeah, I think this. And then run across them. Yeah, I'm carrying too much stuff usually to do that. Yeah, and it might be possible to go around. Yeah. But like I say, our goal is actually just to survive. It's not really to... we just have to make it to the end of our time here. Flare gun saved your life. On this run, we have found no flare guns and we have a single flare. In most of my interloper runs, the last month or so, I feel like, or the last couple months, I feel like whenever I find a flare gun, I never see flare shells the rest of the run. I'll never find them. But the flare gun is great for... Okay, I need to pay attention here. Our porch drawing has been pretty bad here. Wow, that was pretty bad too. Okay, let's try this again here. Yeah, stretch. So last night I ran a D&D session on campus, and we only had half of the people able to show. So it was mostly social encounters. Party's been engaged in some interesting things recently. They're trying to figure out what's happening with the high priestess of one of the local temples that they've had contact with, and they've become convinced that there was a change of leadership about 8 years ago, which resulted in a new high priestess who has been replaced with a double, or someone is impersonating the original high priestess. And so they went and infiltrated a few sessions ago, and one of the things that happened is part of the party spent their time mingling. It's very much the church has become very much like a hippie cult, and so the part of the party was down mingling with the worshippers who were participating in basically some sort of I guess you would call it like kind of like a surfer rave. It was just kind of weird. And so one person in the party decided that he was going to try to seduce some of the prominent ladies that were hanging out there, of the local gentility, local nobility hanging out, basically wealthy married folk, and tried to seduce them. Well, the other one was trying to seduce a sort of a kind of a effectively a trust fund baby high elf surfer dude, and he basically had a surfer vibe, but at the same time a touch frat bro in there too. So anyways, so they so that was a couple sessions ago. So this session, having convinced surfer dude, who has this ridiculous name, Lonzo Shadow Moon, or at least that's the name he gives her, and they decide that they're going to convinces him that he should take them out on a night on the town, show them, try to impress her, right? So and she's just trying to get information out of him, either about the church leadership or try to find a way to con him out of money. And so what happens, of course, is that he decides to take them to a local dive bar. So it's like a wealthy neighborhood, but this one bar that's the vestige of its like wealthy gentrified neighborhood, dive bar that's like one of the last remnants of the previous incarnation of the neighborhood. And so they take him to this dive bar, which really is kind of more like a Western saloon. And then they somehow get into a drinking contest, which is totally rigged because they set up Lonzo in a challenge with this other guy. What was the local? Some ridiculous name. And anyway, so they get into a drinking contest. The guy fails his con saves like multiple times in a row, ends up plastered. They take him to a back room so he could rest, and then they go through. They decide not to rob him completely blind. It's just like. But one of the things they glean from another local is that there's crab fights that you could bet on that are kind of like battle bots, and so like it's just all weird. Yeah, the bar was called the Dancing Crow. The crow has magic mouth cast on it, and it greets everyone that comes into the bar. Oh, look at this! I missed this. I think I saw this actually. I forgot to loot this though. So yeah. Anyways, it was kind of a wild night. They had fun. We all had fun. It was very weird. The one thing I regret is that one of our regular players for that campaign was sick, and he's the one that usually takes the notes for the session notes. I used to do that in previous campaigns, but I now let my players do that work. And so since I don't know how well documented. I have my notes, but I don't know how well documented the party has that session. So hopefully they remember enough of it, what they gleaned out of it. Oh, and they also discovered that the strange blue glowing drink that the church worshippers and recruiters at the Temple of Illidara, which is like the name of that's the name of the goddess. We're serving them is actually 1/16 aboleth slime, and has been concocted as a mind control drug, and is apparently being shipped in through the sewers into some sort of underground passage into the temple. So definitely something nefarious going on in the temple of that's normally associated with light and nature. So all sorts of wild stuff. But yeah, so I introduced this crab fighting event, which we decide will happen next session when the rest of the party's there for it, as a good way to bring everyone back in. But now I feel obligated to design like a whole crab fighting game. So I don't know. I will probably spend a little bit of time this week, maybe this weekend, thinking about how to make a crab fighting game. And allow players to either they could choose to make up a custom crab to compete with, or we'll have some sort of mechanic for randomly generating crabs that compete. And then apparently my knowledge of how betting works needs to be brushed up on, and so I need to understand better how to handle odds, so that next time they can actually, yeah, it's a crab fight minigame, totally. It's I was thinking about it, it's if I design this right, it will be the type of thing that you could run just for fun, separate from D&D altogether. So it basically would be, crab fight would be a very stripped down combat simulator, right? And it might share something with, I remember years ago when I was in high school, one of my first DMs, introduced us to Car Wars. And so we did Car Wars one night, or one afternoon on a Saturday. And so that idea of building something out of parts, and making choices about what you had, and then basically having them compete against each other. That was pretty funny and fun. So I think maybe something in that vein. Yeah. So I figure crab fight, you will have crabs that have natural enhancements, mechanical enhancements, and magical enhancements. And so and maybe you'll have a budget of points that you can spend that determine how how they're made up, and then you just then there's just some rolls to determine who wins. And I think it has to resolve, I think the rule will be it has to resolve in 3 rounds. 3 rolls. Because I don't want a long, protracted battle between crabs. This is a sad truth. We are really just kind of whiling our way time here trying to get to the magic 186. So we want to get basically, I think, to 184, maybe? Maybe 183. We want to get to 183. So we've got like another 4 days to go. And then we're going to move. We're going to move to, we're going to move from where we are over here. We're going to move over to this cave and spend a few days like mapping out this area before we go out the exit to Transfer Pass. But we killed all the, like we killed all the wolves up in here. We killed wolves in here, here, killed wolves in here. So yeah, we've wiped out all the local wolves. Wolves in this area are terrible. Not because they're particularly dangerous, but because they're useless. There's like no meat on them. There's nothing you can eat. They're just starving, scrawny wolves. They're poisoned. Doesn't amount to much. But yeah, if I make the crab fight minigame, I think if I like it enough, if it playtests well enough, I might end up releasing it as a as something on Drive-Thru RPG. I think it would be funny if other people enjoyed playing crab fight. The other way to do it is instead of dice rolls, that's a card system, and make it into a card game. Crab fight as a card fight, as a card system, I think might be fine. A card game might be good, actually. So I think actually that's what I'll do. I'll make it into a card game. Maybe make it so that it could either be a card game or a... Wonder if I could make it so it runs, at least in prototype, it runs off of a regular deck. Or maybe it should just be custom cards. Maybe just custom cards makes sense. We'll see. Okay, let's see. Well, what kind of... Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I like the idea of doing it as a card game of some sort. Maybe kind of like Munchkin, without the levels. In that you have like a class, you have like a number of item slots, you have a race. So really for that it might be different types of crabs. And different types of... Or actually, I thought about having like a right claw, left claw thing going on. So you have right claw slot, left claw slot, shell slot, and maybe like eye slot. So like you could get like laser eyes or something like that. Or maybe that's a head slot, and then it's like different things.
Wait. I'm so cold.
Yep.
I'm warming up a bit.
Okay. 79. This is slow. We need to pass more time faster. Yeah. Okay, so from what I can see, there's like at least one cattail plant we missed. Oh, this is going to turn into a blizzard in no time. Oh, there is one. I missed this one. Everything else we got, right? Uh-oh, got cold really fast. And we're back. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days of food, which we most likely won't need. Okay, it looks like this stream will have only gotten through 3 days? 3 days. Maybe, not even. It's slow moving. Okay, let's see. Everything's still in good condition. Let's see. Rabbit hat's fine. Rabbit mitts are fine. Those are in good condition. Travois is... Yeah, I guess that's the next one we fix is the Travois. Probably don't need 24 of these. Arrows, we have 12 working arrows right now. Okay, let's see where we're at now. Day 180. Really didn't make much progress. Well, I guess partly because we started half an hour late. 6 days remaining till we get out of here. Guess we can try to get to 181, and then next stream we'll have 5 days. Next stream's Sunday night. It's looking like it's probably Monday night before we actually leave the region. Tomorrow night we'll be moving over to the new location. Yeah. So we'll put in a little bit more time, see if we can get another day in here. Let's see, map-wise, what do we want? No, that's not what I want. Yeah. Oh, that's because we're in the wrong one. Okay. How are we doing for matches? We are at 36, 45 matches left, plus the striker, plus the mag lens. It's okay. 28, 51. It would be funny if you could drop your torch on a gasoline pool and have it burn up. That would be pretty wild. But they probably don't do that. One, so you don't kill yourself doing that. Two, so you don't try to kill wildlife doing that. So yeah, we have effectively, definitely, more food than we have days left. There's also more food than we want to transport. We could do some more mapping and exploration. Hmm.
Making my head feel thick. Come on, little fire.
Uh-oh. There goes our plan to explore. Yep. Yep. Failed.
Starting to feel numb.
Yeah, we had big plans to go and do stuff, but now we just have to go back and find warmth. If we could stay.
I can't feel my hands.
Feels like minus 46. Lovely. Yeah, there's no way we're going to be able to warm up that rocky passage area enough to actually stay
So
warm.
cold. Think.
Well, I know how to get to my safety spot here. Okay. I think that's TLD telling us that we're going to spend a very uneventful day hiding out from the storm. Okay, we have how many? 4 pieces of cloth. Sounds terrible. It's still pretty terrible. Just gonna find our little base back here. $54, $36. Looks like our bedroll needs some repairs. Come on, work. Okay. 180. Hey Aaron, how's it going? We're getting ready to wrap up our stream here. It's been a rather quiet stream. We started off with more exploration. We did find a deer and we killed that. We did explore and map out a few more areas, but no big excitement. No, like a couple streams ago we killed like 5 wolves in one stream. That was pretty cool. And we even had a brief wolf struggle. That was unexpected, but we made it through. But yeah, this one, quiet. Mostly quiet. Mediocre to bad weather and some mapping done. Yeah, almost. We're getting close. We're probably 2 streams away from being done here. If we do it on average 3 days per stream, then we're like pretty close here. So like, yeah, it's daytime now. We are officially on 181. And that leaves us with 5 days. So 5 days is possible in a long stream for me or a very eventful stream for me. Yay, we're going to read a poem. I was thinking about it, but thanks for the request roller. Okay, we'll get a random poem. Okay, so we will wrap up with, we'll save here, and then we'll read a poem. Okay, what shall we read? Let's go to the random poem chooser to see what we get. Poem chooser. Ooh, okay. It's been a while since we read this one. And this is from my second book of poetry, Babbage's Dream, published by Sundress Publications in 2017. This is the collection that revolves around the history of computers, the life and struggles of Charles Babbage, and modern programming languages, and a few other things, artificial intelligence. So you can read up a little bit more about it there. But we're going to read Babbage sending messages to Ada, now gone, 1852. So the only things you really need to know is Charles Babbage, i.e. Babbage. Charles Babbage was a 19th century mathematician who designed, partially built, but never finished what would have been the first computer as a general purpose programming or programmable machine. In some senses, his design, although it was analog and worked on gears and columns of gears, and was cranked, but could have eventually run on steam, was Turing complete, which means that it was a true computer, as opposed to some of the very first digital computers, which actually weren't nearly as sophisticated as what Babbage had designed. So that's like how far ahead he was, 130 years ahead of the modern computer. He designed something that would have been the first computer. Ada in this title refers to Ada Lovelace, who was, the best way to describe her was, well, many different things. To Babbage, Ada was one of the few people that truly understood what he was working on. And despite a fairly substantial age gap, she was, I think, 17, and he was in his early 40s when they first met. She had come with her mother, who was Lady Byron, i.e. Lord Byron, the poet, the wild, crazy poet. Lady Byron's, Lord Byron's daughter was Ada Lovelace. And her mother had raised her to be as far away from arts and sciences as possible, and trained her, or far away from arts and poetry as possible, and trained her to be a mathematician, and paid for all these science and mathematician tutors. So she was raised to be scientifically minded, but still had something of, inherited something from Lord Byron anyways. Ada had the mathematical training and the individual genius, the way of seeing things, that allowed her to understand what Babbage was talking about when he did one of his presentations. And it led to them actually forging a real friendship that lasted a number of years. And Ada was actually ultimately responsible for translating an important review of Babbage's design for the analytical engine, which would have been the first computer. And Ada's translation of that review, plus her own additional notes, which were, I think, 5 times as long, 10 times as long as the original document. It just were much more thorough, much more insightful, and in many respects imagined the future of what a computer could do in a way that was even further ahead than Babbage actually had understood, in the sense that she imagined a future in which the computer would be used not just to calculate, but also to create works of art and music. So anyways, that's who Ada was to Babbage. And she was also the same age as his daughter, who he lost to a fever epidemic a few years prior to their meet. Well, let's see. a few years after he meets Ada, he loses his own daughter. And so there's something of a father-daughter relationship, I think, that emerges out of this this dynamic. Anyways, 1852, at this point, Ada has died due to cancer at a very young age, like 30, I want to say 36, the same age as her father. Okay. Yeah. So I'll give you more of the background to the actual poem, behind the poem, but I think you need to know that Ada worked with Babbage, and then she dies in 1851 or 1852. Anyways, we have the dates here. And so this is Babbage. Oh, and the only other thing you need to know is that in 1851 was a great exhibition that celebrated the modern science and kind of drew the entire world in. So yeah. Babbage sending messages to Ada now gone, 1852. In the dim streets below, something dark eats away at the light, consuming the gas lamps on every corner one by one, like a cancer, till nothing is left but absence, and your lone beacon set in this upper window, a clockwork curiosity you built last year to signal the masses thronging their ways home from the Crystal Palace and the Great Exhibition. The world gathered under a glass sky and a mechanical earth, a sea churning with countless eyes, each turned to an imagined future. And your staccato flare, a repeated message, a pulse of numbers, depths, wind changes, a code for passers-by to struggle through, like a recurring cough from a worn body, or the stubborn throb of pain below the belly that her doctors could not decipher, except in long and short periods of blood and oblivion. This year you shine the light again, pointed above the invisible barrier that divides the living from the dead, and let your grief burn in all its stuttering failure. You close your eyes and the world is gone, forgotten. But her voice lingers in the turning of gears, a loose horse whinnying in the darkened streets, the oil-black clouds shuttling across the sky in some wild and unknown pattern. So I think this, I'll read you the note at the back of the book that, in the notes for the book, that really, I think, helps it contextualize the whole thing. So Babbage sending messages to Ada now gone, 1852, imagines Babbage at his upper window in late fall, days after Ada Lovelace's death from bloodletting, a failed attempt to treat her uterine cancer. The signaling light he operates in the poem is the prototype of the occulting lights he developed just prior to the 1851 Great Exhibition, and used to bewilder those returning from the exhibition. The occulting lights relied on colored lenses and different patterns of obscuring the cast light to communicate coded messages. The system would go on to be adopted by navies and lighthouses around the world. Throughout the exhibition, Babbage left a box outside his residence for passers-by to leave their guesses as to the meaning of that evening's message. And the message he was transmitting every night during the exhibition was actually the wind and barometric reports. So wind pressure and air pressure and temperature reports. So he was transmitting that, and then he would let people try to guess what he was actually sending out. But what is really fascinating, right, is one of the many things is, like, Babbage was not a one-note wonder. He was someone who constantly invented things. Anytime he came across something that he thought could be improved, he would try to come up with a way to improve it. And so, or sometimes you'd come across something and you think there has to be a way to adapt this or use this in another area. And so he'd come across this idea of, like, the problem was, how do you transmit complex information over long distances when you're at sea, or when you're in these different situations where telegraph wasn't available? And so he came up with a system that ships and lighthouses could use of transmitting signals by light. But the light would be with colored lenses or different patterns. And so it wasn't just an on-off repetition, but you could use a lot of other things to create additional layers of meaning. And so a much more richer, much more dense, information-dense signal that was being sent. And Babbage was absolutely devastated by the loss of Ada. She had, by this point in 1852, she'd really cemented herself as being a vital part of what he saw, like something that he struggled with was really helping people who were not scientists and mathematicians to understand both the possibilities and the limits of what the analytical engine would do. And she was gifted with language. She not only understood mathematically and in terms of the engineering what was being designed, she also understood how to communicate that in language that felt accessible to people who did not have the same degree of mathematical training or the same degree of engineering preparation. And when she passes away, a few years later, there's an account from a visiting American priest who's visiting London and happens to stumble into Babbage. And Babbage takes him under his wing, shows him around town, introduces him to all these interesting people. And this is all given in an account of the letter that this pastor sends back to his relatives. And in the letter, it says, that he had this wonderful conversation with Babbage. And at some point, the conversation turned to talking about Ada, who had passed away. And he says, and in that moment, he says, up until then, Babbage had been very jovial, very friendly, and very positive. And then he says, there was a complete change of demeanor. His whole face fell. And you could see the mask of positively just dropped away. And Babbage, said it was, for him, he said it was one of the greatest losses that he had experienced was that friendship, losing Ada, who he said there was no one else, he says, that could understand and explain the machine as well as her. And so, Babbage ended up outliving all sorts of people that he loved, that he valued, that he admired, or that he wrestled with and struggled with in his personal life. But he outlived all these different people. And in the end, many people that were left after him really didn't recognize what he had done or what he was trying to do. And so when he passed away in 1871, there were so many people that did not know or understand what he had done. But those people who were outside of England, in Italy, in throughout parts of Europe, even all the way into China, had heard of what he had been doing and were interested, invested in what the future might have been if he had finished the machine. So, anyways, thanks for hanging out, and thanks for that little. I hope you enjoyed the little history lesson that went with that. I'm going to, we're going to find someone to raid here. As always, that's the challenge, to see who is available. Ooh, guess who's up? Let's go visit. Big Bird, or the Birdie, as he is now called. I don't think we've had a chance to raid him before. So let's see. This is another TLD streamer and a regular in our channel, actually. So I think we should go visit. But thank you. Yeah, we are going to visit. I'm going to quickly update this here. We killed another deer. Okay, so that's all updated too. Okay, so we're going to raid. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. Appreciate the poetry request, and we will drop in and say hi to the bird, Big Bird. I guess. Okay, let's go.